This video is made for adult collectors. Hello Internet, I'm Roffy Offensive Recorder Offensive, that's my name, don't wear it out, and I love Transformers. I have so many that they're taking over my room, and since the boxes are 99% air, I've decided to open them up. Today we have Transformers Earthrise Ironworks. It's a toy I've had my eye on for a while because I really love his industrial look, especially with his alt mode, but I never really had a reason to pull the trigger until Astro Train. Learning it comes with a base accessory was just the push I needed to finally pick him up. He is what's called a modulator or a base former, a transformer who instead of turning into a vehicle turns into a battle station and can be taken apart to become armor for other Transformers. The first thing I noticed is that he's a little heavier than I expected. I thought he'd mostly be hollow, but I guess I was wrong. And speaking of being wrong, he's also incredibly solid. I really thought because he parts formed, he'd be a little loose in places. Aside from the shoulders, I'm going to have to talk about each arm individually. So the shoulders plug into the body with a cylindrical peg, so they'll be able to rotate 360 degrees, and the joint in the arm allows it to go up and down. First, the right arm is pretty standard with a bicep swivel, a double joint from Transformation, but it's another deluxe figure without a wrist swivel. On his left arm, he has kibble on his shoulder that won't get in the way if it's in the correct position. He still has a bicep swivel, but this time instead of a double elbow, he has a standard elbow joint with his forearm extending upwards to hide the bicep. And here he doesn't have a hand at all, but a hook, and I really like this because it gets the imagination going. It makes me think he lost his hand in some sort of accident or decided to replace it with a hook to make his work easier, and it also reminds me of a pirate, and it's the entire reason I bought the Thundertron from Legacy. For the legs, they're both attached to the waist by the thigh using the same cylindrical pegs, meaning both thighs and the hip can rotate 360 degrees. He has a standard knee and no foot rotation, but a simple hinge that lets it bend inward. To transform him, he parts forms, basically meaning he comes apart. All you really need to worry about is folding in some smaller pieces to basically turn him into Legos. So this has 3 alt modes and 1 secret mode. This is the first mode, a little battle station with a crane and a little ramp. To get to this mode, make both of the knees touch and plug the folded up right arm into the ports on the knee caps. This makes the base. We take the pelvis piece and plug it into the arm piece with the hips resting against the arm, keeping the whole piece upright. The base should be this S shape now. Then we take the chest piece and plug it into the top port on the arm to hide this gap. This is actually pretty cool, but the gun comes apart to become a little support for this floating piece. And this other bit of the gun becomes a little smokestack. Then there's this little road piece I forgot to show, but it was hidden on his back, but it tabs into whichever piece you want to create a little ramp. Now on top of the chest is a little peg. You need to flip it out so you can attach the left arm to make the crane. So I actually really like this mode. I'm so in love with the industrial construction aesthetic. The colors are perfect. The high-vis palette just makes my brain excited. The safety yellow is spot on. It looks just like a real construction vehicle. The charcoal black adds to the aesthetic by complementing the yellow, giving it a hazard stripe vibe. And the shades of gray they use make me think of exposed inner workings that poke out of the machine, making it feel dangerous. Especially with this gunmetal gray, and paired with the minor red detailing and the grill lines, it screams furnace or smelting pit, like he has a fire constantly burning inside him. Okay, so moment of truth. Now it's time to see how he pairs with the Astro Train. So in this mode, he's alright. It isn't the greatest, and I feel like he's just kind of there no matter where I put him. So thankfully, this next alternate mode feels more integrated with Astro Train. So his second mode is this big bridge thing, which is simple and easy to make, but it doesn't use every part. So you can just plug the arm piece back into the knee and the chest piece on top to hide the gap. Now, how does this mode look with Astro Train? Well, the 4-piece bridge kept falling down, so I moved one to the side to give it a ramp, and I closed up the coal car a bit to give it some extra support. I actually really like this. The bridge can plug into the port on the side of the coal car by bending the arm out so we can face the ramp outward, and it actually attaches so seamlessly to the base, and it gives a second floor type vibe with this walkway the coal car creates. So now it's time to move on to the last mode seen on the instructions, the armor, and it's a good thing we have that exact wheel jack. First, we gotta get Wheeljack into his robot mode, then return Ironworks back into his Lego pieces. To start, you take Ironworks' legs, and they should tab into the port on the bottom of his feet to become boots with shin armor. Next, we take the chest and uncurl it to make an excavator claw that's gonna tab into his right arm. And for the left arm, we take Ironworks' pelvis and tab that in to make a shield. Now we have to close Wheeljack's wings and unfold Ironworks' arm into an L shape. This plugs into his back and the other arm plugs in on top to give Wheeljack a shoulder crane. So, Ironworks as armor is nothing special, but I know he's not a weaponizer, so it's not his fault, but I also don't think he works well with Wheeljack, and I didn't think he would work with any of my other Netflix trilogies. So, I chose my Legacy Velocitron Burnout, and I think all it takes is someone who matches his colors and he works just fine. And then I realized he has been with his perfect match the entire time. I was too busy thinking about the alt modes together that I didn't even think to give Astrotrain the armor. And it looks beautiful. It's amazing. It's perfect. Ironworks was just made for Astrotrain. And I'm very happy because this means I can keep them together in every mode. Speaking about modes, remember how I said there was a secret one? So, Ironworks has been recolored twice. Once in the Generations line as Decepticon Grease Pit, but more importantly in the Amazon exclusive Galactic Rescue Mission or Botropolis. And that set inspired me to make this video because I could make that. It's just Ironworks with the other modulator Airwave with a little dinky spaceship on top, but imagine how cool it would be with big ol' Astrotrain instead. But why do I bring up Botropolis? Because in this set, they include a new way to assemble him. This tall tower with a scoop, and this mode is pretty easy to get to. First, we start off with the legs. Flip the side roads out and attach them with the loose one. Then on top, plug in the chest with the claw out. Then the arm piece goes on top, and you can put the crane up top here too. That's usually where I have it, but the instructions say it goes down here. And so this mode really feels like the Forge, with the claw acting like a bucket and the furnace blasting heat from the knees directly under it. And the blasters on top feel like a communications antenna satellite dish. You can even spin them around and point them up and down with the whole arm piece moving around with it. And how does this mode pair with Astrotrain? Believe it or not, amazing as usual. I think having a vertical structure near the space shuttle just feels natural, like the launch mounts for real life space shuttles holding the whole thing up, or even a loading crane for heavy cargo like the ones you see at the harbor. And my favorite idea is that it looks like an air traffic control tower. It makes me think that's where mission control is, or that's just someone doing their job with the crane. It makes it feel like there are things actively going on in the playset, like they're getting ready to go on an adventure. So what are my final thoughts on Ironworks? What can I say? I absolutely love him, and I think he's become one of my top favorite characters. For the robot mode, it's perfect. His articulations did have me on the fence though, but I'm satisfied with what we got. He has limitations in some areas, but more attention in others, evening this out in my mind. The limitations basically come from the legs, but it literally has no impact on the toy. The upper body has all the fixins. The shoulder could use a butterfly joint, but I get why he doesn't have them. Both his arms are fantastic. One has a double elbow and the other one is a badass crane. And am I sad he doesn't have a wrist swivel? Surprisingly, no. With him being Legos, I think if they gave him a wrist, it would crash into the kibble like the Cybertron Starscream, so I think it would be an unnecessary addition and raise the price. His head has basic left to right movement, but can't move up and down by itself. It does have a transformation plate to swing the head around, giving him the ability to look up. And something I find impressive about this is that he also has a waist twist, but not a very good one, but the fact that they figured out how to do that with building blocks is so great. Next, I want to talk about the colors. I know I already spoke about them, but the safety yellow, charcoal black, gunmetal gray, raw metal gray, and glowing fire red are spectacular and nail the big machine vibe. And as you might have noticed on the yellow, he has black wash, which if you don't know what that is, it's watery black paint applied to figures to get into little cracks and crevices to get the most out of the molded detailing. And this adds a dirty, gritty vibe to the figure, making it look worn and used, just like a real big, cool machine. And speaking of big, cool machine, the first alt mode is great. I know it's like a crane thing, but while looking at the recolors, I think it has some more garage aspects to it, like this as a door, so now it's more of a mechanic's garage in my mind. The next mode is a bit of a weak one, but it's fine. The bridge mode on its own is lacking, but accompanied with another transformer base, it's alright. I think that this has that triple changer thing where one mode isn't the greatest, but this is a completely optional build, so I don't think the rating of the toy should suffer because of it, and I can think of many ways with other modulators I can probably make something work. The armor mode is also kind of a hit or miss. Personally, I think it depends on whoever you're pairing him with, and I think he looks amazing with the Astro Train. Astro Train is already a big monster, but this just makes him even scarier. And the final mode is the Tower from Botropolis, and I do like this one as much as the Garage Crane, and what I like about this one is that it's tall and it does creatively pair well with Astro Train. So my final rating is the highest I've ever awarded a figure. I'm very happy to say that I think Earthrise Ironworks is a perfect 10 out of 10. The articulation, the colors, the alt mode, the accessories, it's all that. So do I recommend this figure for a collection? Absolutely. He's a good robot for a crowd, and no matter how you assemble him, he's a cool set piece for other characters. And I love this so much that I actually bit the bullet on Airwave, because if I'm going in on an Astro Train base, then I'm going all in. But to see that, you're gonna have to subscribe.